Hi. Hello. I just want to make sure the tech is working before I start anything. This is how I get in the zone, by the way. If anyone is live, say hello, because otherwise it's just me talking to me. My son and I dance to this a lot in the kitchen. Hello. We are live. We are going, which is great. I'm really into this. All right. Time to get down to business. Hello, welcome. Welcome to the group, to the newcomers. Welcome to people I haven't spoken to in ages. This is the first time I have done some real proper training that wasn't just randomly inspired, where I actually put my little coat on and I got a little bit gussied up, but I really, I did feel inspired to show up in this group kind of in a bit of a different way. You're going to be seeing some new things here, which is really exciting. But more than that, Priscilla, hi Priscilla, so good to see you. Thank you for joining. So great to have you in the group. So welcome to Priscilla. She's one of our new members. Look, about 2 days ago, I posted something on Facebook on my personal page, but also my business page, and I was shocked at the result. So I'm not sure what brought you to this group, if it was one of my posts or someone recommended you, but I literally just shared something that I had been working on for over a year. And so what I wanted to do was, and I had people reaching out to me, I couldn't believe some of the responses, and look, I do have a background in PR. Mary, hello, gorgeous grandma, how are you? Oh, so good to see you. Thank you for joining me. Look, it's so good to be back, is all I can say. I had a baby 2 years ago. Some of you may be aware, if you've followed me through this journey, Mary has been here since, I'd say, the very beginning. So she has seen me go through a lot of transitions as a woman, as a business owner, as a wife and a mother. And I have to say, you know, you got to be open to what happens in your life and in your business. You've got to be adaptable and flexible. And when I started the Life on Her Terms brand, I was so clear about what I wanted it to be. But even that has evolved and continues to. So if you're a business owner, an aspiring business owner, I just want to encourage you to be okay to be in the question. And what I mean by that is, if you're here because you're not really sure what direction to go to in your business, you know there's something next, but you're not sure what that is, I just want to encourage you to stick with it. Don't quit. You can rest. Take some time to inventory. That's okay. Don't avoid burnout at all costs, but please don't quit. So if you're here today, I don't know, I felt like I should say something like that because I have been there myself. I can totally relate to that. But today we are talking about publicity, and more specifically about how I recently landed a radio gig. And I say recently, it wasn't that recent. I currently live in a place called Newcastle, Australia. It's this beautiful small coastal town. As you can hear in my voice, I am not originally from here, but Australians have lovingly adopted me. So I am both American and Australian. We've also spent some time in the UK, so I feel a bit British as well, which never comes out. It's just more in my head how I feel, how I would like to come across. Anyway, so I actually have a background of 15 years working in publicity and PR and communications before launching my own coaching business, which was all online. And I was started in career coaching, and then I started doing copywriting and PR for people. And I kind of just keep coming back to, I don't say what I know, but what I see the need for, particularly in the online business community with faith-driven women. What do I mean by that? I mean for women who know they're meant to have an impact. I mean women who have started something or created something that they know they were called to do, that they were called by God, that there's a purpose, a divine purpose that you have, and is associated with your service or your business or, you know, your call in the world. And so one of the gaps I have seen is people don't know how to get their message out there, or they don't know what their message is. Both are dangerous, and both will totally keep you stuck in business. Priscilla's like, honey, I think one thing you'll have to learn about me, I'm from the South. Everything comes with about 10 stories. We will get to the training. So look, I just want to give you a bit of a background on this. So the radio gig I spoke about is called Rhema FM, which is a local Christian radio station. They do syndicate nationally, but they are someone, and this is, I need to share this with you because I need you to hear this. I need you to hear this story. My mother used to volunteer for them years ago. She was even on the radio with them. One day they said, we need more volunteers. And I was like, hey, I'll do it. I was like, I'll talk to anybody and, I'll come and be on the radio. They auditioned me and I got rejected. I got rejected at 17 years old by a Christian radio station for a volunteer position. This is not a joke. I was so annoyed. Because I was like, well, if the God people don't want me, who's going to want me? Are you kidding me? I thought it'd be so perfect for it. They don't even realize this happened, but I remember. You always remember when people reject you, right? So I just want to bring that up because I was all gung-ho for it, but it clearly wasn't the right time and the right opportunity for me then. Okay, so all these years later, I'm 32 years old and I am nursing a newborn. And we moved from the UK when I was 5 months pregnant. The first year was really hard. Any new mothers can relate to all of this. Basically, my business had come to a halt, a total halt. And I was feeling so discouraged and not even overwhelmed, but just flat. And I remember sitting while I was nursing my son, and I remember saying to God, I know that you called me to something bigger. I know they rejected you too, man. I'm glad I'm not the only one. That's hilarious. I'm sorry, it's not hilarious, but rejection is God's protection, right? Anyway, so, rejection is okay. I've just gotten used to it. You have to, particularly in business. Please don't let that define you or stop you from going further. But yeah, rejection, right? Anyway, so these same people that rejected me ended up offering me a segment all these years later. So I'm sitting there nursing my newborn, feeling so discouraged and so empty and so, well, this is what my life is all about now. And by the way, I love being a mother. It is such a blessing. I really, really do. But at the same time, I started this business before I had my son. I always knew I was meant to do motherhood and other things as well. So I never wanted just to be 100% mom. And that's my story. That's my truth. And I hope you can respect that. And I hope whatever truth you have around that, you can show up with as well, because I will certainly respect your story with that. I think sometimes as women, we really judge each other and ourselves harshly for maybe wanting more than what society has trained us to. And I really want to step up and stand up for that woman who's like, yes, I can be a nurturer, but you know what? I can also be a game changer. And that's what God created me to be. So nursing my son, and I said, God, I know you called me to something. I know you have called me to something big. And I know that I am meant for more than this. I need to hear from you specifically about what is next. Now, I need you to notice something about that prayer, about that cry out, kind of like you hear in Psalms, if any of you are into the scriptures. It was so specific. It wasn't just a, woe is me, God, things are really hard. God, I want to hear from you specifically about what I'm meant to do with my business. That was exactly the cry of my heart. That was my prayer, tears streaming down my face. And I hear it as clear as day. I feel it as clear as day. Pitch a segment to Rhema. And I laughed. As soon as I heard it, I was like, no. That was literally my response. I'm not joking. No. First of all, don't you remember, God, they rejected me? And second of all, my ego started to come in. And this is how you know it's from God and not from you. Your ego will challenge you. And I'm not going to say all the things that came up when I thought about that. But first of all, I have never considered myself anything to do with the faith platform. And please understand me when I say I'm a faith gal. I love God, but I always thought people in ministry were so separate to me. But you need to know, if you're in a business, this is your ministry. If you have a calling to serve people and to have an impact, that is your ministry. And ministry does not mean you have a pulpit and a church that you can go to virtually on a Sunday. A ministry is anything that people see you, that you're visible in. This is my ministry. This is my ministry that I've been building up, but I was so hesitant to see it that way. So the idea was Rhema, contact Rhema, pitch a radio program to them, and I fought it for about 10 minutes. It made no sense. Can anyone relate to this? It made no sense. But being the person that I am, I'm not one to sit on things too long, but I did research what I needed to do. I went on their website. I found out who I needed to contact. I found out their email address, and I drafted something, but I didn't send it then because it was 2 a.m. and I knew I was exhausted and probably needed to sit on this. I invited some of my business besties over who you are going to be meeting the next few days, and we brainstormed, and I came up with a pitch for this program. I sent an email. And it was a very brief email, very short email. You need to know something about anyone working in media. They don't want to read anything over 3 or 4 sentences most of the time. So within, I believe it was a week, but it was either a week or shorter. I received a response back saying, we would love to meet with you. And so I put together a proper pitch, and the pitch was like 2 or 3 pages long. I really thought it out. It took my time, and I recognized they had limited resources. They wouldn't be paying me for this. But all I kept thinking was, how can I serve? How can I show up with the skills and the experience and expertise that I have? And I went in and I pitched myself. I couldn't find any clothes that fit. I was sleep deprived from nursing my kid the night before. I had stayed up looking, like drafting scripts, thinking, okay, you know, really preparing myself for success, if I'm to be completely honest. And I had a few ideas that I pitched, but one of them was a coaching segment. And it's really bite-sized encouragement, but it's from my specific perspective, because one of the things I noticed growing up in churches is I didn't see a lot of feminine leadership. And what I mean by that was there were amazing women who pretty much ran the church, but they were usually missionaries or the pastor wives, or they ran the children's ministries. I didn't see anyone who was in a career, like prominently in a career, or yeah, had any kind of success things they could give me, I guess is how I would see it. I was actually so desperate for that type of mentorship when I was first starting out in my career. So I just started sharing what I knew. And in the end, they said, yes, let's give it a try. When can you come in and record? And that's what happened. Now, the back end of that is I ended up having to create all this content, and I've probably recorded about 30 or 40 spots by now, which is a lot of content to create. But I did it. I signed up to it, and I was so excited for about 3 months. But let me tell you, I'd recorded it. I think I recorded it in June, didn't launch till November last year. We are now in October. They've only just started uploading them online. So has anyone felt this way where you're like, I've got all this stuff and nothing to show for it? Because that is honestly what it felt like to me. It felt like a joke even telling people I had a radio gig, because I'm like, I'm not going to tell people until you can actually hear that it exists. I needed the proof for myself. I'm also getting a book published, which will be coming out near the end of this year. We are near the end of this year. It's with publishers at the moment, which is pretty exciting. All these things are coming at the same time. That was never the plan. I also have a podcast that we are launching the next few weeks that has been going on for years. What am I trying to say? Things take time to build. But what I want to say about this Rhema opportunity specifically is this is what I call a divine media opportunity. And this is not the first time this has happened to me. And I want to bring this up to you because I can guarantee you have had one of these, at least one of these ideas, and you have perhaps maybe not followed it up. I need to warn you and encourage you to please follow that prompting. Your ego, if your ego is fighting you on it, I can almost guarantee that's a God prompt. Do not ignore it, because let me tell you what happens when you follow it. I cannot say for sure in terms of, because I was so resistant to it. All I can say, I was so resistant to it because it didn't fit in with my brand. And yet, the more I have started talking and showing up with who I am and talking about my faith, because that's a huge part of who I am. I can't keep it separate from my business. That's just who I am. My tribe starts showing up. People who need help start showing up. My impact starts getting that little bit higher. You never know the impact saying yes is going to have. And it's not your responsibility to figure that out. So that's the background of the Rhema story. Rachel, how did you get your own program? Well, it wasn't an overnight thing for sure, but it kind of was as well, because that was a divine media opportunity. Most of them are not that simple, to be completely honest. And by that, I mean, like, it was a really quick turnaround in terms of the yes, but the actual turnaround and getting the content on air wasn't that easy. So, but when God is involved, time doesn't matter. He collapses time on our behalf, which is really amazing. Okay, I'm going to take a little breather and have a bit of a sip. What are you guys thinking so far? I hope this is helpful. Okay, it's helpful for me. It's like going down memory lane a little bit. Okay, so divine media opportunities, do not ignore them. Okay, so now I'm going to get into you and how this is relevant for you in your business and publicity. Okay, here we go. So here's the thing. First thing, why do people want publicity? And I think it was Courtney who posted in the group yesterday. She's like, I've got all these ideas, but I don't know where to start. And I think a lot of people do, particularly when it comes to media. But here's the thing. You need to be clear what your goal is for getting PR. Because there are a lot of people who will sell to you, I can get you featured in this, that, or that. Well, that's great. But do you need clients this month? Are you after connecting with a certain person? Do you just want credibility? Do you just want to be able to have lots of logos on your website? Do you need to have the confidence so you can go to the next thing? I'll share in another post, but this kind of happened to me when I first got featured in the Huffington Post. I'll share something on that later. Maybe I'll do a separate training on that. So the point is, most people, when they want to get publicity, have 3 goals. Connection with potential clients or influencers, credibility, so you can be seen as the thought leader. So when people Google, I don't know, cooking classes for 12-year-olds, that your name comes up. Or confidence in you and your ability to serve the world. There is nothing better than having a byline online that makes you feel like you're amazing at what you do. I'm just going to be honest. It really helps. It really helps with the confidence. I know that helped me. I started writing for the Huffington Post before I even had a business. Do you think that helped me go to my next level and get that client? Yes, it absolutely did. And actually start calling myself a business owner, because when you Googled me, something came up. That was pretty freaking exciting. It still is, actually. So that never leaves for me. No matter how many times I've been published, I still get a buzz when I see my name. Okay, so about you. You need to be really clear on what your goal is for your publicity, and that will inform your next decision. But I'm going to give you 2 hacks. Okay, your next decision is, who do I pitch to and how do I pitch? So the first thing is, I'm going to give you 2 hacks here. One is guest posting. As a contributor, nudges don't ignore from you. Yes, that's right. That's right, Priscilla. I cannot tell you how many times. Can I share something about that? This might seem totally random, but it's not. Have you ever seen someone land an opportunity, maybe a job or a client or a gig, and there's a part of you that wants to be happy for them, but you feel jealous? It's this tug, right? Jealousy is a horrible thing, but I can almost guarantee you it is pointing you to something that is for you as well. And what I mean by that is, you can go, man, I should have done that thing. I could have bought that thing, or I could have been featured there, or I could have worked with that person if I had done that. There's nothing worse than the regret of ignoring the nudge. Okay, so 2 hacks that can get you featured and free publicity for your business. Number 1 is guest posting. That is not as complicated as it sounds. It's really being a contributor for any outlet. The one that kind of blew up my business was writing for Goalcast. And I started writing for them because I loved their content, and I was like, it's so inspirational. So I wrote for Goalcast quite a few times, and it really helped connect right people to my group. So that's one idea. In terms of how to do that, most people that I come across, it's really funny. They're like, I can't create content. I'm not a writer. Can you talk? How do you talk about your business? How do you communicate it? Do you do it in sign language? What do you do? Write how you talk. Record yourself. A lot of times my VA will download this video and turn it into a blog post. You can do something like that and submit yourself as a contributor for one of your favorite publications. That's how people do it. And you don't need to overcomplicate it. They're like 500 to 700 words. One of the best, easiest ways to get in, and some of the most readable contents are that are like 4 ways to improve your relationship, or 5 ways to lose weight by summer, or whatever it is, whatever your specialty is. So you don't have to go overly complicated in it in that way. And actually, anything with a number or that type of a headline is really easy readable. That's why BuzzFeed is so important. It's so popular. Okay, so that's number 1. Does that make sense to anyone? The guest post and contributing. And I don't want you to overthink this, because I can guarantee you that you have content you could submit today. You could, okay? And one of the things I started doing, because all of a sudden I had this coffee radio segment that I had to create content for. And I'll be honest, the first few was not a problem. And then I dried up. I was like, okay, I don't have anything inspirational to share. What do I do? I'll tell you what I do. When I'm sitting in the car with my baby, when he was napping, and he would only nap in the car for 2 hours, I used to just sit there and I would listen to podcasts, and I would read my books and read my scriptures, and I started recording myself talking. I look like a crazy lady in the car, but I have a voice recorder app. You can also do it on your iPhone, on any smartphone. And I started recording myself talking. That's what I started doing. And sometimes I would chat to my son like he could understand me, which he was like, you were clearly crazy. But these are the time hacks that I would do. And sometimes if I was with my business besties, I would say, I'm hitting record, guys. And honestly, sometimes I would delete it. Other times though, I would go back and go, that was a nugget. We need to take that away. So that's a hack for you. That's another hack. Start recording your conversations. Start blogging what you're talking about constantly, right? And here's the second. So that's the first one. Guest posting and contributing to popular blogs or publications that you read yourself. Number two, you need to create a Twitter account. Do any of you have a Twitter account? I do. I don't even use it that much but Twitter is really, it was like one of the first sources of online news when, online social media was becoming really popular. They were was it the Hudson River, when the plane went down in the Hudson River? Twitter broke that news, and it was the first time that anything had been broken on social media. So a lot of journalists are on social media. You'll find that a lot of their contact details online, even on LinkedIn, aren't always up to date. Their Twitter feed is always up to date. I can pretty much guarantee you 95% of the time they're always up to date. So create a Twitter account. And this is when you start following journalists or people who write for the publications that you want to follow and want to be featured in. And then there's something else you can do. So you create a Twitter account, you follow The Guardian or BBC or Channel 9 or whoever it is that you want to be featured in, Psychology Today, Goldcast, name a few. And then there are two hashtags you can follow. Hashtag PR request, hashtag journo request, JOURNO request. These are really popular things that journalists do when they are desperate to fill a story and they don't have anyone to talk about it. So Woman's Day, for instance, they may need someone who lost 50 pounds just by walking their dog. And so they will say, hey, looking for someone to talk about this. They're looking for talent. You could be that talent if your service or experience fits that bill. Okay, so this is free, guys. This is free. And you call this the low-hanging fruit. These are the easy gets. And if you have no publicity, if you're coming to it from a zero standpoint, that is where I would be going. Now, if you've been featured in a few publications, there are other things we can do with that. But I'm just coming to this assuming you haven't had any real publicity credentials, that you really want to go to the next level. Your business hasn't been featured. You're not making money while you sleep, in terms of you don't have clients reaching out to you and go, I read that article and it was like you were reading my mind. There was one article I wrote years ago. I didn't even remember it. And I think it was published in Thrive Global. And it was when I was pregnant. And I'll be honest, it was a very vulnerable post. And it was me talking about how my business plans just went up in the air because I was pregnant and we moved overseas. Like, it was a total life overhaul. And it was me just being really honest. And I wasn't really sharing business strategies, but it was more like personal strategies behind the business. I cannot tell you how many people have reached out to me and the connections I've made as a result of that one post that I wrote quite a few years ago. So you never know. And sometimes it's not just about you being seen as the expert. It's about you being seen as the human behind the expert. One of the coaches I followed for a while, she only ever talked about one particular niche. And then one day I saw in The Guardian, she posted about a miscarriage, and it was so personal and it was so intimate, and it was such a beautiful story that she was willing to share, and people respond to that. So I'm not saying you should always be sharing your stuff, but you can mix it up. And I truly believe, particularly with the clients I work with, the more authentic you are, the more people are attracted to you and your message, the more they trust you, the quicker they trust you. Because there's nothing worse than seeing someone behind a video and go, well, I'm glad you've got it all together. People don't believe that anymore because they know it's not true. Everyone's being affected by what's happening at the moment. I haven't even mentioned COVID because, frankly, what is there to say? Except I know a lot of people are going through a lot of hard times. But at the same time, there's some incredible opportunities. And guess what? Media is interested in more than just COVID. We need other stories. Okay. So those are my two hacks for you. I hope that's helpful. So in terms of takeaway, this is what I want you to do. This is your call to action. I want you to pick an outlet that you follow, that you like to read, that you read when you're on the train or in the car or scrolling through social media. Find the contact. Have a look on Twitter. That's the first place I would probably look. An editorial assistant, the editor of a certain section, and create a pitch. Now, this is really basic. I'm really kind of throwing you in the deep end here because there's a lot more to this than that. But why not give it a shot? Okay. So what's the worst that can happen? I've been rejected by plenty of them. I've been accepted by plenty of them. Okay. And if you get a rejection, which it's 50-50, you may or may not, but you can always follow up. Okay, so I can do a lot more training. There's a lot more in depth I can go in on this, but there's no reason why you can't take those two things I've given you today and be featured. You could be featured tomorrow within 24 hours in your dream publication. Guess what? That's happened to me when I had no credentials. Okay, I'm going to just share a little bit more. Couple of couple of key points that I want to share with you and I want to remind you of. Don't minimize your expertise. Don't. I don't know why it was such a shock to me when I had all these people going, oh my God, this is amazing. You've got this radio spot. I'll be honest, I didn't feel that amazing about it after a few months. It was just felt like something that was happening. I wasn't seeing anything. But from the outside perspective, I'm like, oh, of course, not everybody knows how to do that. Do not underestimate or minimize the experience you bring to the table. Now, not everyone's going to be experienced in doing publicity. You may have a completely different set of skills. Please do not minimize them. People need them. They need your service. By the way, if you're here and you're like, I don't have a business, I'm not serving anybody, whatever, your life experience is credentials. Okay, I'm thinking of people who have experience with even lived disabilities or taking care of people who are unwell. Being a mom, I got published in a motherhood publication I'd never even heard of, but I started following because it really spoke to me. It's called Her View from Home. It's beautiful. And I thought, I want to write for them. And my first pitch got accepted, and they actually do pay, which is really lovely. But that wasn't even the reason I wanted to do it. But they spoke to me so much, and I felt I had a story to share. I'm no expert in motherhood. My God, I wrote it when I had a baby for 3 months. I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't. So please know that your life experience, even if you don't have any official credentials, that is your credentials. Those are valid. Those are needed. And I can guarantee you, I go and call people who are much better at mothering than I am. They don't have any fancy degrees around motherhood or child infancy. They've been there, and I trust their judgment. So there's something that people are going to trust your judgment about. What do your friends constantly come to you about? What are people messaging you about? Are they like, oh my God, such and such is great. Priscilla's great at doing this with animals or photography or whatever it is. Like, do not minimize what you're good at, because trust me, the world needs it. All right. So that's we're about to wrap up the training here. That's kind of it. I will stop for a minute, have a sip. Are there any questions or any takeaways? Please share below. It's been so lovely having some people on here and engaging. That's always really nice. Going once, going twice. Okay, no problem. Awesome. Oh, yes, Green Ads Recording app. Yay, hashtags again. Hashtags, yes, Priscilla, the hashtags. I will write them in the comments afterwards, but it is PR request, PRREQEST, and then hashtag journo request, JOURNOREQEST. I got there. I will also write them down there. Nudges, you're doing great so far. Oh, thank you. This is lovely. I didn't even see these. Recording app. Yeah, great idea. Go for it. Do it. It helps, ladies. You are content. And by the way, if you're a business owner, you are essentially a content creator, because if you're not, your business will die. I'm sorry. I don't want to leave on that sad note, but that is the truth. Okay. Last but not least, I'm going to leave you with a little bit of inspiration after that. Look, here's the thing. Publicity is not that difficult, but you've got to be intentional about it. Like anything you do in business, I'm going to be sharing a lot more with you about publicity and messaging and branding and copywriting and getting your story out into the world. Because guess what? It is not your product that people buy. It is not your service. It is your story. That is something that people really seem to miss, and especially, particularly in the online world. But I also want to share this, okay? Whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is that you are doing in your business that you feel called to, and oh my gosh, the hustler in me really struggles with this, so please hear me out when I say this. There have been a few times with a particular media venture I'm doing at the moment where I'm like, what is the point? I'm not seeing the fruit of this. I'm putting all this time and effort and experience and money in doing this, not money, but my time is money. Time is money. And I'm not seeing any of this. I'm not seeing the result yet. So what's the point? If this is something God has called you to, if this is something you felt the nudge on, one question: what are you doing in God's business? Your job is to show up. Your job is to go. It's His job to deal with the impact. It's His job to connect you with the client or to connect that person with the service or the story that you have. Don't get in the way of God's job. That's too much for us, ladies. But I can guarantee you there's something specific He is calling you to right now in this moment. You know what? I'm going to end on a prayer so that each of you watching on the replay or live, you are going to have something so specific you are called to in this moment around your message, around your service, around your product. And I implore you, I beg of you, please Take the nudge. Move forward. Do something with it. Okay? Don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. There's so much going on in the world right now, ladies. We need you. The world needs what you have. Okay? And like me, like look at me. It was so like it blows my mind. In a way, I'm going back to what I've known, for so long. But even I forgot for a little bit the gift that I had. Don't forget your gift. Okay? Now's the time. Now's the time. All right. My time is not much. I just want to glorify him. Priscilla. Oh, thank you, Priscilla. I'm so happy that you're enjoying this. I would just want to glorify him. My time is not much. Your time, I have to say that time is, your time is everything. Time is energy. So, and I love your passion about wanting to glorify God. Glory to glory. Everything that you're doing is from his glory to his glory. Everything that I do, I say, God, if you and him cannot fail. You and God cannot fail. But we get tripped up in ourselves. Okay? And enough. Just put the line in the sand today, ladies. Enough. It is time to have the impact you're called to. It is time to do business the way that God wants you to do it. It's time to stop hiding and be visible. And it's not just about getting media logos, guys, but it's about if you are a God believer, if you are a God gal, you know the impact that he wants to have and is having on this earth. Don't you want to be part of that? Don't you want to co-create? Like, this is what you're here for. So stop settling for mediocre, because I don't know about you, but the God that I know didn't call us to that. So I'm just going to leave you with that. And I'm going to end with a prayer. So thank you so much for joining me live. You have no idea. So obviously I get a lot of energy from this. Priscilla, thank you. Mary, you're so wonderful. Thank you so much. Barbara, you're amazing for everything that you do for me behind the scenes and here too. Thank you so much. So, and it is great being back with Fire in My Belly, Mary. And I appreciate you for, sticking with us through this incredible journey that we've been through the last few years. Okay, so I'm going to end in a prayer, and please post takeaways and post any other questions that you have. And this has been so lovely, and we will, I will reconnect soon, and I'm looking forward to sharing more training down the road. Okay. Lord, in the name of Jesus, I just thank you so much for every woman that is joining this live and on the replay. I pray right now, God, that you ignite her purpose in this moment. I pray right now that you just send her Esther moment so clearly to her that she knows it's not just a nudge from you, it is a roar. I pray right now, God, for the feminine leader in her to rise up, and that whatever doubt or fear or insecurity that has been there, God, we just put a line in the sand right now and say no more. She is a daughter of the High King. She is precious in your eyes, and she has something so royal and divine to share with this world, and you are not ready for her to play small anymore. And I pray, God, that this training that I've given, this is just an introduction of a door for her, of whatever it is you want her to walk in, God. Let her, if it's about pitching or connecting or writing or collaborating, Lord, let her be open to that. Give her vision, give her clarity, and give her energy around it. And we thank you for joining us today and co-creating this experience with everyone. And may it be for your glory. And we pray this believing. Amen. Amen, ladies. Now go and be awesome. I will speak to you soon. Much love. Bye.